Hello, are we live? I think so, right?
Yes.
Hello, all together to a Deal Wednesday, some live deal reviews. And if you are not here in the Zoom room like Harald and Tina and Jean, you want to be here, just like check the link. We dropped it in the chat here or under this video, what you're seeing, and join us on Skool. That you can, just talk with us deals because this is what we love to do. So I actually wanted to talk about a thing that I really love today because it came across my thing, and this is like package deals. It came across my desk this morning from one of our partners. He has like a couple of like 18 lots he can purchase from somebody, and I just like, I did that a lot in my career, and there's certain rules when you do that, and I just want to walk you through like how do these rules look like, if that makes sense, right? Let me just pull that up here because every package is like a little, what is it here, Dell? Let me just find that. Just 1 second. I need to pull that up real quick. So, like package deals are like really cool because for an instance, and I talked with Harald and Tina about a portfolio yesterday too. Like the great thing about packages is really that you deal with one seller and get suddenly a bunch of lots, right? So, and I liked that pretty early on in my career because I didn't like to talk to so many sellers. So I thought like it's a smart way to just talk to one seller and get a bunch of lots, right? And I think I purchased in the first year I was doing that like 144 lots in Florida, another 50 package, a 14 lot package in Pennsylvania, and all that. And I did probably a lot of things wrong by doing this, right? So I want to share with you what you don't want to do, but I also want to share with you what you want to do, if that makes sense. So let me just pull this up here. My parcel ID. We had like one of our partners here coming up with a bunch of lots by one seller, and he sorted them out, right? So let me see how I can do this. And so let me share my screen. We're going to do that. So there's this seller. It's called Del Alba Land Holdings, and like you see, he has right now here, like what is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 lots, and there were another 5 lots in another subdivision. They were all pretty well together, and which is great. But like when you think about that here, in total, I think it were like 10.2 acres he could buy there from all his clients. But now you need to do this strategically, right? Because there's a little of playgrounds or a little of rule books and things you want to understand about package purchases, right? When we look at this here, we have all the small lots, right? And we have this one big lot we're buying, and probably I think here's another area where he has some more lots, right? Where he wants to do something. But what's the important thing is you always need to think, okay, I can buy them and I have a lot of inventory, but I also need to move suddenly a lot of inventory, right? So when we look at it from a risk perspective first, what you always want to do with package purchases, you want to see what kind of impact does it have on the market when I purchase those, right? So you really want to go in and see, okay, when I purchase this like 17 lots here or 14 lots, how many lots in this size, in this area have been sold in the last year, if that makes sense, right? Like to get a feeling on how long will you need to offload those lots by time. And now you can say, yeah, there's a builder, there's a thing, and yeah, maybe you find a builder that takes all these lots out of your hand, right? That's literally an exit strategy, but you want to always play. You want to always plan worst case, right? Like, what is when you need to find a retail buyer for each of those? Because this is what you sign up for. Once you buy them, you have liability on your feet. Probably you need to pay taxes. Sometimes you need to pay HOAs. Sometimes you maybe have a hard money loan, so you'll have interest payments to do, right? So there's a lot of like little things to accomplish to just like mitigate risk here. So let's always go from a worst case scenario on these things. That means, hey, suddenly I sit here on an asset where 14 lots, all the same size, in a market that maybe just 7 of those lot types sold in the last 12 months. That means you have suddenly 14, and what you do now is you throw them in the market, and like you oversaturate the market. And suddenly you own this 14 lots, and what you do is you dominate the pricing in the market. So let's say you go, like, let's say each of these lots is worth 25,000, right? So what you're going to do now is you list 14 lots of 25,000, but there is, over the course of a year, just 7 buyers that will buy that. And now comes the second effect. You will not be the only seller in this market. There will be other sellers. And what they will probably do is they will start underbidding the prices that you have, right? Because when they want to sell it fast, right, they may be listed for 23,000. So the next move you do is, oh fuck, like all these guys sell now for 23,000. I'm listed 25 as the market maker. I'm gonna reduce my price to 21,000 to be cheaper than them to move this inventory, and then suddenly they start underbidding you and go to 19,000, and then you get in this death spiral, if that makes sense. Right, I've seen that. I was looking last year into a package deal of 199 lots here in Texas, and this is exactly what happened there. What the seller did is he started listing all his lots on the MLS, and like these lots he had were an average selling before he did that for $18,000 to $20,000. Then after he sold that, the lot prices in this entire subdivision went down to almost $5,000. So through him putting everything in the market, he decreased the value of those lots drastically, if that makes sense, right? So the first thing that you really want to do when you look at packages is like, okay, how much lots are really selling to really estimate for you, how long will you hold all of this, right? And how you mitigate that, what I described earlier, I tell you a little bit later. But this is what you really want to look into, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is you make a huge impact in the seller's life by taking a whole package down. Why? Because Del Alba Holdings probably pays on all these lots, and we're 34 when we were looking this up here, right? Del Alba, what was it here? Del Alba Holdings LLC, right? They have like 34 lots in the entire thing. You know how much tax dollars they pay on all these lots? Let's say each of those here is $500. It's within city limits of $400, right? And it's just like for this little lots there, probably every year they spend 10, 12 grand on taxes, right? Second, you save them a lot of time because they don't need to pay an agent commission on everything. They don't need to pay closing costs. They don't need to find a buyer for everything. They just have one buyer that is taking all the slots in one sitting out of their hands, and they just get cash for it, right? So, and with these two things in mind, this is how you really need to negotiate these deals, right? When you take a huge amount, like I would say 10 lots plus out of the seller's hands, sometimes can be 8, that's like a soft number, that can be 20, whatever. You always want to make sure to buy them for the 2 reasons I mentioned earlier on a steep discount, right? And the steep discount doesn't mean 30% or 40%. No, you want to buy those lots at 30 to 40% of market value, not more, right? At best, you get them as low as 25. But the real thing is that you want to not be higher than 40%. And why is that? imagine now you purchase all these lots and we stay here with the 7, right? Like we can just sell 7 in the first year. So that means we pay a full year of interest for 14 lots and then still have 7 lots that pay interest there. When you have a hard money lender at 20%, right? That means like your funding costs like suddenly explode, right? And you're sitting on this funding cost and you can't make it economically work. The second reality is in every lot package, not every lot is equal. There's better lots and worse lots and average lots, right? There's lots that have a better slope, a better view, a better utility situation, a better this, a better what. And there's lots that are just like they are half flood zoned, they have a trashy neighbor, they have all that. You can't avoid that. There's like a gap in between, right? So you will probably have different pricings on each of those lots too, right? Well, the top one will sell for 25, the lowest one will maybe just sell for 12, right? So what you think when you do your average and pricing that you'll get for each lot, there will be an average maybe happening, but also, on each deal that will be different, right? If that makes sense. And you'll always need to release the same amount of money to a lender when you pay those off and all that. So, but what do you actually do when you do something like this, right? So, first of all, buy them on 25 to 40% of market value max, that you have enough cushion in equity in that deal, right? And have the benefit for the seller that he's out of it and doesn't need to do it retail. This is how I bought this 144 lots in Florida. That guy bought all of those lots, wanted to develop them, and realized how much work it is, and he just wanted to get rid of them because he was paying like $35,000-$40,000 a year in taxes on those lots, right? And didn't do anything with it. So it just costed him money they were not really appreciating, and he just wanted to get rid of them and write off the loss. And so what you really want to do here is the following thing, that you take care that when you have them under contract, that you make an inventarization first, right? Like, because when you get them so cheap for 25, 30, 40%, what's also, you have space for error in your underwriting. Because if you purchase like 15 plus lots, how deep do you want to go on each lot on the underwriting? When you want to do it thoroughly on each lot, you need probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks to do it, right? Because when they're adjacent, it's easy, right? You can somebody out there, but like when they're a little bit spread out, you need to have somebody driving around, take pictures, maybe different zonings, maybe different utility situations, maybe different slopes, maybe different whatever, different neighbors, all that, right? So you have some space for grace. But when you do that, you want to do an inventarization. What are the good lots? What are the bad lots? What are the average lots? And price that out, if that makes sense, right? So, and then you don't want to throw them all in the market at once. What you want to do is you want to list your top lot in a certain subdivision and your worst lot in your package at the same time, right? So the worst lot really like on the discounted price, let's say it's 12,000 and the top lot is 25,000. List those two, not more than two, because with two, you're not a market maker, right? You're just there, you own the land, but you just have 2 lots in the market for sale right now, if that makes sense, right? So you don't build too much competition and give also your competition some space for grace, to not like undermine your pricing all the time. Because now you have like a better price lot and like a low price lot, and they have like room for themselves who is there a lot in between, and you will not destroy the market. And then you start selling the first lot. Let's say it's the cheap one. So what you do then is you sell it, do the and then you do the second cheapest lot that you have in your line and throw it then in the market after that. The day you are under contract, you just like put that one. So you never want to have in one subdivision more than 2 lots at the same time listed. What doesn't mean that you can mention in your listing text, right? And in your graphics or whatever, that your images that you create, that you own more lots, that there's more to have, and that you're willing to sell them at a discount too, right? Because it would be great to have somebody coming in at 60, 70% of market value that is a builder that takes a bunch of the lots out of your hand, if that makes sense, right? The next thing is you want to build a buyer's list. right? Always when you release the new lots, everyone that inquired should be on your list up to then, right? That would just be that you would just send whenever you release a new lot an email to, hey, we have a new lot coming, and we have a new lot coming, we have a new lot coming. So you just really have your buyers already on an email list, and you can pitch in between. You have this whole portfolio, right? And some of them, like maybe you want to ask this lot that you're advertising, maybe they just see that, they don't see your other ones, and they don't do the research we do here. They don't know that Robin owns all these lots, right? They just know like, hey, there's one lot and maybe another lot on the market, but they don't know that. So now you can work a little bit with them directly and say, like, look, we have a little bit more here available too. Maybe if that's not the right one, another one is the right one, and the likability is pretty high, right? And so when you, from the mechanics, work that too, what's really important that you have a good structure also with the lender, right? Because and there's two ways of doing that, right? The first one is you have one lender that has like a general, like this how you don't want to make a single mortgage and note or deed of trust and note on each lot. No, you want to have one global mortgage and then always release out of that mortgage and release the principal. So you want to somehow define with your lender when you sell a lot, how much of a release fee do you need to pay? That can be what you bought it for, that you take profit up front and pay more interest on the principal, or there can be you focus on paying off the principal first and then own the last lots like just pretty much like without a fee every year, right? Like for then on. And everything in between. You can play that and negotiate that in any way. But you want to really define with your lender, how does this payoff look like? How do interest payments look like, right? So I'm negotiating right now a subdivide where we have exactly the same situation, right? Where we just say, okay, we released a lot on the per acre price, but we accrue interest always to that date where a lot sale happens on that remaining principal with a fixed interest rate, and release on that lot sale always this interest rate too, if that makes sense, that has accrued up to that point, right? So have in mind that you need a clean lender structure, and this package deals are a little bit harder to negotiate than with the lender than everything else, because they don't like the collateral. They really need to trust you, right? Good. So let me wrap that a little bit. Package deals are wonderful because you get a lot of lots on a steep discount, and you can really focus on the disposition of those lots, if that makes sense, right? So it's not that you need to consistently hunt down stuff. It's not that you need to consistently do that. No, what your business model now changes a little bit from permanently, doing that. Oh, by the way, one last thing. What you want to have a discount is, before I forget that, your marketing costs on this project will be higher than the marketing costs on a single deal. How do I mean that? All these lots that you have seen need separate marketing, right? So you need separate images, you need to spend more money in advertising and all that. So always have that in mind too. That's why you want to have a bigger equity cushion. So to wrap this up, when you do deals like this, always have in mind you have different types of lots in your portfolio that you're purchasing. This good lots and bad lots. Have that in mind. You will need more time to close and need to make compromises and due diligence when you buy those lots, because you can't deep dive on each property as deep as you want when you buy like 20, 25, 50, 100, whatever at a time. The third thing is you need to be careful that you don't become the market maker in your market with all these lots you were throwing out there, if that makes sense, right? Because other people will start underbidding you, and then you're going like in a war with them about pricing, and you destroy the prices in the market. The fourth thing is always market the cheapest and the highest lot in the same time, and always when you sell one, just add the second one of the list from the top or the bottom, whatever you are selling. The fifth point is have a clean structure with your lender, that he knows what's going on. There's like, for example, in Florida, you can do land trusts and all of that. You can find really clean structures on that. And yeah, with that said, just be careful that you don't pay more than 40% of your estimated market value. Be conservative on your comps when you comp this. But when you can catch one of those, you really have great deals. And this is Creative Deal Wednesday, short session. So I open it up for Q&A. So if you're watching that right now on the socials, just come in here in our Skool group, just join us on Zoom. Other than that, I open it up for any kind of questions that you might have around the purchase of packages.
Question. How does that technically work with a title company? You just give them a list of all the lots, and they do that at one time, or?
Yeah, you wanna draft all lots in one contract. Really, really important. Like, here's the story of my life. My very first deal, right? California, 3 adjacent lots, right? I think you do it right. You do it the right way, right? So I wrote 3 purchase contracts and 3 sales contracts, same seller, same buyer, right? Had everything, put it to a title company. What they did is they charged me 6 times closing costs, 3 times for the purchase, 3 times for the sales, right? So saves you a bunch of money. In California, that was pretty pricey. And he wanted to have like $61 from me. I didn't make any profit, and I tell him, hey, I just worked for you, just give me a discount. And I made $1 on that deal, right? Like, because he gave me a $63 discount. But write them up on one purchase agreement, right? The title company will pull a title policy based on the research on all these lots, and you will probably have compromises on that because every lot will have a different deed history, right? And just do one purchase agreement, and title will run one policy, will make one closing. Also, always have in mind the closing cost, right? Certain states and counties, you will need maybe to pay a deed transfer on every single lot. Some of those you will not do, right? Like, I've seen both. Like, then you just have one general warranty deed and need to pay like 1 times the fees to the counties to record it, if that makes sense, right? Does that answer your question? Great. Good. Any other questions on that topic? Good. I'm not. Guys, lots are awesome. Like, packages are really awesome. It can be an awesome strategy if you do it right. I hope that call helped you to get like the right thinking about it. Just pull the trigger on that. Talk less to sellers. You have not so many conversations, but it can be really, really, really good, if that makes sense. So with that said, I wish you a great Wednesday. I hope everyone is doing pretty well. Good luck deals hunting. And I see everyone tomorrow, 12 p.m. We have a special call with Launch Control where we talk about how you really can get more deals together with managed text messaging and get just like more out of your list than you probably actually do. We dropped the link here. Other than that, I wish you a great day and see everyone soon.